You're watching Straight Line with Dan Rogers, President and CEO of Cherry Street Mission Ministries.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Straight Line. I am your host, Molly Elrod, and we are here today with Dan. Awesome to be with you again.
Yeah, good to see you, Molly, always. We have an exciting show today.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I'm really excited about is our guest, Phil Ryburn. He oversees our LifeBridge facility.
He does.
And we are going to unpack the awesome stuff that goes on at LifeBridge, furniture, clothing, and all the other things that come in that box. We offer food, we offer shelter, but only more recently have we offered our programs of free shopping to the community and our referral program for community members and guests moving into transitional housing who are in need of furniture.
Well, you're absolutely right. It's only been in the last half a dozen years or so that Cherry Street has really opened up its avenues for clothing and furniture. And now I will tell you, and Phil will be here in a few moments and he'll tell us all about it, give us a behind-the-scenes look. But now Cherry Street Mission Ministries, on behalf of our community, and I would say, Molly, you know this well, because of our community, is now operating the area's largest furniture bank and the area's largest clothing center.
Yeah, and a thread that we always talk about is how awesome our community is. We always have support, whether we need food or clothing or furniture. And I just think it goes to show, the willingness to want to help someone who just needs to get that extra boost, clothing for their kids for school. It really does offer life stabilization, and it stands with that person when they need help the most.
Well, naked people are awkward.
Right. Absolutely.
So
it happens.
Let's clothe them.
Right.
The Bible's really explicit about that. If somebody's naked, let's offer them clothes. If somebody's hungry, let's offer them a meal. That's one side of it. The other side of it is, frankly, tons and tons of clothing end up in landfills across the United States annually. Us retasking clothing is also about conservation, as much as, of course, as it is about making something that we're no longer wearing available to share with someone else.
Yeah, it's a really great program that we have, and not only do we share with the community, we share with our guests, and I don't think it's something that it's well known, it seems, that we offer that. And there are definitely community members who know, business partners who know, but we do have the clothing drives and things throughout the year, and it's just such a awesome thing to be able to say, hey, I don't have any money, but I can do something. Everyone can do something at Cherry Street, and I think that's the greatest thing as far as volunteering to sort or just donating your items that you don't need anymore, because that can offer so much to somebody.
No question. Well, Molly, and you're saying it so very well, because and I believe by now our viewers know, that whatever Cherry Street Mission Ministries does, we do it in the fire of other people's choosing. You know that well, as do our viewers, because that's the fourth man in the fire, right? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego found themselves in a fiery furnace because of their own choice. And because of that, God showed up with them. God calls all of us, as you watch today's show, into the fire of other people's choosing as well. And why does Cherry Street offer furniture and clothing? Well, because there's a lot of hell going on in our community that an extension of love begins to solve. As a matter of fact, to help us demonstrate that a bit further, take a look.
Imagine being tossed into hell. Imagine standing there. Imagine the heat of it, the flame of it, the worry of it. Now imagine someone is standing right beside you because they are. And you know they're not there for any other reason than you. That is Cherry Street Mission Ministries. We stand in the hell of other people's choosing on purpose.
Phil, thank you so much for joining us. You are our guest today, and you are the manager of LifeBridge. So thanks for taking some time away from LifeBridge to be with us today. If you can unpack what a day looks like for you as far as what comes in the door, what goes out the door, who we're serving, and who you're working alongside with as far as vocational training goes from start to finish, that'd be awesome.
Molly, would you mind if we just took a break from that real quick? Yeah. Because, one of the things that I love about when you and I invite someone onto our stage is the intriguing story about who. Because Phil, you've asked a great question. We want to know, hey, Phil, what do you do?
Right.
And our viewers really want to know that as well. As we get there, what do you think, Molly?
Okay.
I
guess.
Let's get, I have her permission now, Phil.
Right.
Let's get Phil Ryburn talking about you. Again, you sound like you're from Iowa.
Right.
And
right.
so I'll bet you that's not true either. Tell us a little bit about you and what it is that has brought you to our region.
Right. So basically, I was born in New Zealand many, many years ago.
Very close to Iowa.
It is very
Just the
across
other side of the world.
Of course it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So born down in New Zealand, and more recently, I moved to Australia, and I grew up there. Spent many years going to college there, and my family is still over there. And about 4 or 5 years ago, I met this incredible girl. And as the story goes, you do wonderful and crazy things for love. And so she was from Toledo originally. She was studying at Bible College in Australia, and so we met, fell in love, moved over here, and now we're married and happily living here in Toledo, Ohio. So that's kind of the brief summary of the last 4 or 5 years about how we got to Toledo together, and I've been at Cherry Street for about 2 years now.
Okay, and your wife's name is Meredith?
That's correct.
And the only way that I've been able to remember your wife's name is always do word association, and I only remember because of Meredith Reynolds, which she's not associated with at all.
Not at all.
It's just a name association for me.
Right.
But of course, you're a lovely couple, and how long have you been married now?
So we've been married for about 2 years now, and she's actually on staff at Cornerstone Church, at the church that we attend, and so she's happily working there. She works in the administrative area, so anytime there's flights or conferences or hotel rooms, all that kind of stuff that needs to be booked, she's in charge of all those kind of things, and so we both attend church there.
Well, what are some of the things you do at Cornerstone as well? I bet you don't sit idly by either.
No, right. So we are an active couple involved in our church, and we believe wholeheartedly in serving our church where we're planted. And so one of the things that my wife and I are over together is that we oversee our young adults ministry, which we call 2:10, taken from 2 Kings 2:10, the call of Elisha from Elijah. Okay. And so we oversee that together, and additionally to that, I oversee our online ministry. So we are blessed to be able to reach to all corners of the globe, streaming our services from Toledo, Ohio, all throughout the globe. And so I oversee that, communicating with people from all over the world, every country that you can just about imagine. Okay. I'm able to reach out to, and we're able to bless with the ministry of Cornerstone Church. So.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, I tell you, Phil, we're now going to unleash Molly on you because she's really interested.
She's ready.
Now back to me.
So go ahead, Molly. Fire up one of the main reasons why we asked Phil to be with us today, of course.
Sure. So I'll just re-ask you, to recap what you do on a daily basis at LifeBridge. Who comes in, products that go in, products that go out, and just kind of what your system is. We have all sorts of people coming to us, volunteers and guests, so we're just curious to get the inner workings of a day in LifeBridge.
Sure. So like you said, I'm the LifeBridge manager, which means that basically every donation that comes to Cherry Street that is not food comes to our location at LifeBridge, whether it is hygiene or housewares or clothing or furniture, anything like that, it all comes to our LifeBridge location. One of the wonderful things that we have there is enormous amounts of groups like you're seeing right now coming through and volunteering their time to ensure that we have great systems that have been set in place. And I've been there for about a year now, but like Dan mentioned a few moments ago, we've been in operation at LifeBridge for about half a dozen years now. And so we have great systems that are set in place. We receive all our donations there, and up until recently, I was the only staff member at LifeBridge, and we utilized upwards of 60 to 70 volunteers every single week that ensured that we were able to sort through the thousands and thousands of pounds of clothing that we received every single week and put it out onto a showroom floor that people could come and shop from.
Right, and that's the amazing thing, Phil. The cost to get anything is...
Oh, it's all free.
Right. I mean, that is accessible. That's putting an opportunity in someone's life. That's allowing you to stand with someone and they're possibly rock bottom, to get them that uniform for school, to get those shoes on the kids' feet, so that money can go to haircuts or whatever. So tell us one of the greater joys or something that just makes your heart sing when you're at LifeBridge and you're serving.
Right, so one of the things that I love seeing is the community coming in to shop at LifeBridge. And we keep on saying shop, it's not necessarily a shopping experience right now because everything is for free. But one of the things that I love seeing is the community coming into LifeBridge. Like you were saying, some of the children that come in that don't have any shoes to put on their feet, or being able to exchange some of the shoes that have holes in them or clothing that has holes or stains in it for something that they can stand proud and love. I love seeing children coming in, particularly around the holiday season when they might not have received any gifts for Thanksgiving or for Christmas, and they come in, and because of what people have donated in gift in kind and all kinds of children's toys, we're able to give them these gifts. And just like you're seeing right now, these two girls came in just a couple of weeks ago, and we had these stuffed animals sitting on the shelf, and they grabbed them, and this was the face that they had, and I thought, I need to capture this photo right now, because this is one of the things that I love about Cherry Street Mission, and one of the things that I love about LifeBridge is being able to tangibly show the love of God in what we're doing.
And we talked earlier, Dan and I, about the outpouring of our community, the clothing that they drop off, the furniture. So this is just a direct donation from somebody, that they're giving their quality items that you've gone through and have inspected and said, hey, this is suitable to kind of give back to someone who really needs it.
Yeah, so basically the way that I see LifeBridge is like we're basically just a funnel where people have all this stuff in the community and they give it to us at LifeBridge and trust that we are going to be good stewards of what we have, and then we pass it on to the community, whether it be clothing or housewares or hygiene and all of those kind of items.
Well, let's chat about quality for a moment, Phil, you know, because we do live in a very, very generous community. As a matter of fact, you know, you've traveled globally, as have I, and Molly has as well. There is hardly a community like our community, Northwest Southeast Michigan, relative to the great care and compassion people have for one another. We saw that in recent months when we were in the middle of a water crisis here in Northwest Ohio. You saw people who were thirsting dropping off water. Now that's an incredible community, right? And so our community does, as you're demonstrating here, tens of thousands. As a matter of fact, last I looked, it's about 100 tons of clothing annually.
Oh, absolutely.
Somewhere in that neighborhood that are dropped off to our community. And yet, Molly said something really interesting a moment ago. She used the word quality, because we do have standards and intake at our LifeBridge Center relative to not only what we'll receive, but the standard really, Phil, and this is where I'd like you to address, the standard really is what we will allow someone to receive. We're not going to operate substandard. Isn't that correct?
That's correct. So,
can you tell our viewers why?
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah,
so
please.
One of the reasons that we don't put just anything out on the showroom floor that we have is because we want people to feel dignity and respect when they come in. We want people to feel honored when they come in. Sometimes it's not easy to come in with a handout for a young mother of 3 children to come in and say, I need help. But us putting things that are out on the floor that she is going to feel like, yes, there is a reason that I came in today. This is exactly what I need to be able to serve my family right now. So those are the things that we put out, and we have a whole sorting process to ensure that anything that's ripped or stained or offensive material or anything like that, we keep those things in for recycling, and we just put the good items that are out on the floor.
Can you talk a minute too about what our recycling program looks like and who's heading that up?
Absolutely. So I've been waiting for you guys to ask, actually. This is one of the things that I am most excited about
Looks like
at
just
LifeBridge. Right, I get all excited when I talk about it. But basically, we recycle a whole bunch of clothing. We're not apologetic about it. We're not ashamed of the fact that we do it. And Dan, you mentioned a little while ago about how so much clothing just gets thrown in the trash. In fact, 5% of all American landfill is made up of textiles. So that's basically anything that you would put on your body: shirts, pants, shoes, belts, purses, even linen, or all those kind of items. Typically,
and did you know that companies actually fill that 5%? Just to make it personal to every person watching us today, that's about 83 pounds per every man, woman, and child in the United States.
Right.
Ends in a landfill, and that's annual.
Right, and it's unnecessary. And in my mind, it's unacceptable as well, because God has given us a globe that we are required to take care of. And I think it's really important that we're good stewards of the environment that we've been given. And so anything that we can keep out of landfill, we should keep out of landfill. And so a lot of people just don't know that you can recycle clothing. And so they take that T-shirt that is ripped or it's stained or they're not going to use anymore, and they just toss it in the trash right next to the eggshells or the candy wrapper or whatever. But one of the great things that we can do, because of the size and the magnitude of our operation, is that we can recycle all the clothing that we have. And so what we do is we have people that are down on our ground level, and we receive in clothing and we divide it into good and bad. The good clothing goes out onto our showroom floor, and the bad clothing is what we recycle. So we take that recycled clothing and we put it inside a big compactor, and we compress it down and we bale it together. So not only is it good for us environmentally as a nation, but also it's good for us because we can take that recycled bale of clothing,
Yeah.
and we can actually sell it to some vendors. And those vendors take it out, and anytime you go to a home department store that has a bag of rags for sale, it would come from a location like ours, where you would take that bag of rags, it might be for mechanics or carpenters or whoever. So we not only are serving the environment better by keeping that clothing outside of landfill, but also we're selling that recycled clothing to those vendors. So that's benefiting Cherry Street Mission, but then what we do with that money is the exciting part.
Tell us about that, Phil,
Okay.
because this is really where it gets fun for our community.
Right, absolutely. So anytime we receive in that recycled clothing, we can almost put a dollar value on that recycled clothing that we receive in. And that recycled clothing directly funds the Forklift and Baler program. And that's a new initiative of Cherry Street Mission within the last few months.
Right.
That now we take that money and we're able to employ with full-time and benefits one of the Cherry Street Mission guests.
That's
and he is a
awesome.
guest that we've employed just in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
He's graduating out of our Ready for Life program, so he's gone through all the classes on being a good steward of finances and budgeting and saving and all those kind of things. And so now we have honored that by offering him employment, full-time and benefits, like I said. And so he's working with us, receiving a livable salary with the ultimate goal of moving out through Cherry Street Mission.
Yeah, 3 things that you said are so dynamic in the last few moments that it would be really important for us to sum before we continue moving forward in your story, Phil. When someone donates a pair of jeans, let's make it really simple.
Right.
When you donate a pair of jeans, 3 things potentially are going to happen. Number 1, if it's in great shape, we're going to make sure that someone who needs a pair of jeans is going to be wearing it the very next day, if at all possible. And if not, as soon as possible. Secondly, if in fact they're jeans that you would have tossed into the trash, you're going to bring them down to Cherry Street anyway, and we're going to recycle them.
Right.
And thirdly, that pair of jeans is putting somebody to work who was not long ago homeless and without an income, and now has an opportunity to begin to stabilize and transform his own life.
Absolutely.
Phil, all because someone decided, let's take Cherry Street Mission Ministries a pair of jeans.
Right.
That's dynamic.
That's right, and I think it's one of the unknowns that we do at Cherry Street Mission.
is.
To me, it's one of the most exciting things that we do. Of course, we do, food and clothing and shelter and all those kind of things. But one of the great things that we do is being able to employ people through initiatives like this. And like
Yes.
you said, not only are we employing him through a livable wage, but
Yes.
also we are training him up on a forklift and a baler. And as you can imagine,
Yes.
these enormous bales of clothing weigh upwards of 1,000 pounds, and so we have to use a forklift that was donated to us. And so we've trained him up on the forklift so that he can safely use it, and he's licensed to use it now. So should he seek employment somewhere else in the future, well, he's got that certification that he is now able to use to show that he was able to use a forklift as well,
Yeah.
increasing his resume and is now more employable.
Sustainability.
Absolutely.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
So, boy, I hope you're hearing this today, because as Phil continues to unpack the dynamics of what's going on at LifeBridge, please receive our gratitude for the way that you've participated in more than 100 tons of clothing that is actually coming through our doors, and as you said a moment ago, Phil, is being funneled to the community, but in real dynamic ways, in sustainable ways, in ways that at the end of the day benefit everybody, including something so simple but as important as conservation.
That's right.
I think the thing that I love too about what you said, Phil, you said it earlier, but the way you offer dignity when someone comes in to Cherry Street at LifeBridge to get clothes, but you're also restoring the dignity and hope to our forklift driver, and like you said, hopefully he'll get employment somewhere else, and then we can keep the program going by offering the opportunity to someone else. And I just think that's fantastic that it's all the way around. Whoever we're serving, be it guest, be it volunteer, that there's dignity and hope through clothing at Cherry Street.
Right, and we're all about life transformation,
Absolutely.
and no matter what we do, whoever comes to Cherry Street, it's all about life transformation in that sense.
Yeah, so talk about that with us. What has that looked like for you as in the tenure that you've been here? I'm sure you didn't think that God would do something to you in the way that He has, but what does that look like for you?
Right, so when I came to Cherry Street, I thought that I was a good person. You think that you're going to serve the community. You think, I'm going to serve the homeless, and this is going to be my ministry, and this is what I'm going to do as my noble cause to serve the kingdom. And you think, I am fully put together and I am whole as a person, and I need to help these people that are, add the adjective there, And one of the things that I love about Cherry Street is, as staff, we teach each other not to attach an adjective onto a person. And so I used to look towards the homeless population, and I would have all those adjectives that people can imagine as they think about the homeless population. And so now I realize, well, they're just people. They're just people like yourself. They're just people like myself. And also being involved in our exchange program, I love getting to see how these are people that might be out of work, but they still have value and they can still give back to the community. And most of the people that we have serving in our LifeBridge location are actually from our programs within Cherry Street Mission. So they're guests of Cherry Street, but they're also serving Cherry Street, ensuring that we have good, sustainable clothing to give out to the community because they've sorted through it, or because they've recycled it, or because of whatever they've done. So I just love being able to see people feeling dignity and people feeling valued, and I love my mindset being changed in that and understanding, well, these are just people that have value, you know, they're just people just like us.
Yes, absolutely. So Phil, one of the things we always ask our guests on the show, particularly those that serve Cherry Street in some capacity, you would put your hand in there and say, yes, I am one of the people that who God has changed their lives through the ministries of Cherry Street.
Oh, absolutely.
No question.
Undoubtedly, yeah.
Did that surprise you?
Yeah. I mean, I thought that I was going to be the person that was going to come in and teach people and come in and change lives and come in and bring the gospel. But I might be doing some Bible teaching there, but sometimes it's the small things that someone does that you see, well, that's something that I just learned about God right there that I didn't know beforehand, or the way that that person responded to me. That's just a little element of Jesus right there that I was able to capture because I was working at Cherry Street Mission.
Just like the little girls.
Yeah, absolutely.
That we showed just a moment ago, right?
Yep. I mean, they come into LifeBridge and I think, here are some people that we can serve. And then I see, well, we have little teddy bears, stuffed teddy bears, something that you think is so small and unimportant, but these little teddy bears were able to bring a smile to these children's face. And sometimes you think it's so simple to change a child's day, to change the life of someone that is coming in to serve, and I just love being a part of it.
Phil, just in the last few moments that we have before you wrap up with us today, tell our viewers, this is a great opportunity, tell our viewers, man, if you can get your hands on the following, you don't ever get enough of it. And if they've got it, boy, you would love it. What are some of the top 4 or 5 things that you know our community needs, but you have very little access to?
Some of the things that we need at LifeBridge?
Yeah, and that you see our community needs, but we're always empty-handed.
Sure. So one of the things that we always need at LifeBridge are things like hygiene products and that kind of thing. We always need more hygiene products. We always need more men's clothing. As I'm sure you can attest to this, Dan, one of the things that has blown my mind is the amount of women's clothing that we receive in and the lack of men's clothing that we receive in. Men typically wear clothing until it's broken down, until it's out of fashion.
That's true.
And then they keep on wearing it after that stage.
That is correct.
Whereas women will change size and fashion and style and all those kind of things. So we always need men's clothing down at our LifeBridge location. And if you guys come down, I would love to give you a tour of our facility. Anytime that you come down, we're open Tuesday through Saturday from 9 till 4. You guys can come down, and I'd love to offer you a tour of the magnitude of what goes on there, because we're not just a clothing bank. We offer dignity and transformation to everybody that comes through our ways. And I want to encourage you guys to come down and check out a little bit of what goes on, because I guarantee you that your life will be transformed as you come down and see what's going on.
Phil Ryburn, extremely well said. No one could have said it better, because no one is standing the post you're standing. We're so very, very grateful that God has brought you to Cherry Street Mission Ministries, and as Molly said earlier, for sharing a bit of your story with us today. Let me just say that what you've seen today, again, is the story that Cherry Street tells, and you let that story unfold every single day through your financial support, is a life transformed. We've got a quick video we want to show you about the people and the lives that God touches every day. Take a look.
You know, Cherry Street Mission Ministries from 1947 until this very day has always been about people. People like you. People that come through our doors for a wide range of reasons. So when you financially and prayerfully support Cherry Street, you are actually making an investment in life revitalization. And I think one of the cool things about that is we're all about revitalizing and transforming every life that comes through one of our doors, no matter what the reason. That's the great thing about your support and your investment of Cherry Street, is the way that lives are transformed and changed.
Boy, I hope you heard that. I hope you heard that your financial, prayerful, and physical through volunteerism support of Cherry Street Mission Ministries is absolutely critical to changing and transforming lives. And I hope you saw that in the life of Phil Ryburn, who is the manager of our LifeBridge Center, which is in charge of our gifts in kind, through clothing, appliances, furniture, and for those 2 little girls that day, teddy bears. Amazing distribution, because we serve an amazing God through your amazing contributions and your amazing support. Can I encourage you about something? You know, I've often said within our own ranks at Cherry Street that one of the ministries, since it is Cherry Street Mission Ministries, one of the ministries is employment. We actually hire people, we give them an absolute livable wage. We, because of your support, are able to offer the benefits that families need for sustainability. And it is a ministry, as you saw Phil today, even as you see Molly before we bring Molly back in, you're looking at lives, you're changing and transforming. You have been changing and transforming the derelict, don't get me wrong. You have been reaching deep into the heart of people's lives and changing their lives so they're no longer struggling with poverty and homelessness. And you are definitely turning the lives around of drug addicts and alcoholics at every level. I will tell you that every single day. But I wonder today if you know the lives you're really touching. The families that are employed at Cherry Street that are absolutely here today because of the redemptive nature of your gift and the way that you support Cherry Street Mission Ministries. Will you do yourself a favor? Go to straightlinetoledo.org and get on that line and figure out, you know what is a great contribution to Cherry Street today? Do I need to give my time, my value, my talent? And then make that decision, engage, lean in, and watch how God through you will continue to impact the community. Molly, your life has been changed as well. I know I put my hand up every day and I go, I'm a life that's been changed and transformed over the last 13 years. How about you?
Absolutely. And one thing I think that would sum up what Phil had to say was just the wrap support that our community offers us, that being an employee of Cherry Street offers us, that it's just so faceted. And you know, we talk about the dangers of getting siloed in our work, not going to LifeBridge, not going to our other facilities, but just what's going on with food and clothing and shelter, but that the transformation and the sustainability, both with our recycle program, you know, offering that employment. I mean, it just comes full circle, and you just realize how God's hand is on that and how awesome it is, because there's intention there with who we help and the way we help. So it was just awesome to have Phil and to be reminded that, hey, we're more than 3 hots and a cot. We're about life transformation. We're about offering hope and the sustainability of employment. And again, the volunteers that we have, the community, they are always there in our time of need. When we ask, they are there to answer.
Well, and again, Molly, what has been the concurrent theme today is that Cherry Street Mission Ministries is an organization and a ministry of people and people alone at every walk and at every level. And again, if you want to join in the conversation, you can go to my blog at straightlinenow.wordpress.com and join the conversation there, follow up what's going on, or certainly go online at straightlinetoledo.org and find out how you can get involved today.
Awesome. Well, Dan, thank you so much for joining me today, and it was so great having Phil. We want to thank him for taking time out of his day. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Straight Line. I'm your host, Molly.